Yes, you're welcome to my channel. It's your boy Jacob bringing you another tutorial, very good tutorial. And this time I'm going to talk to my Ugandan nurses, and we are going to look at a route of coming here in the US. You're a Ugandan nurse there. How can a Ugandan nurse come and work in the US? And today I'm going to tackle on that topic in details, because that's one of the topics people are so much interested in. They want to come and work in the US, but they don't know the route. So I'm here to direct you on how you, a Ugandan nurse, you can come and work here in the US as a registered nurse. Now, of course, some people come in, but you're not talking to us doctors. How can doctors, how can radiographers, how can we come and work in the US? You're only talking about nurses. Yes, doctors. I'm preparing a very good tutorial about how a Ugandan doctor can come and work in the US. But today this content is basically for my Ugandan nurses, the registered nurses. When I mean registered nurses, I mean those ones at a diploma and degree level. Of course, when you say Ugandan nurses, the people who come in the inbox to tell you we want to come are mostly enrolled nurses. Now, enrolled nurses, basically, you can't come and work in the US. Please go back and study, add on that diploma at least for 18 months. Then you come and work in the US. Doesn't know even that enrolled nurses exist. It's only our African system which knows enrolled nurses. So if you're an enrolled nurse, please don't contact me. You need to go back to school and become a registered nurse. So basically, how can a registered nurse from Uganda come and work in the US? Basically, there are two ways, two major ways how nurses from Uganda coming to work in the US. One way is through the education route, and that is through getting your student visa, and that is applying for a master's program that is specifically for BSN nurses. And the company, the agency bringing them mostly is called Bridgeway. Yeah, I also came to know about Bridgeway around a year ago. It's bringing most of our BSN nurses here in the US on a student's visa to come and study a master's program in one of the US universities, and they have brought so many Ugandans here in the US. So if you're a Ugandan and you have your BSN, you can try the program at Bridgeway. They bring very many Ugandans to come and do a master's program on a student visa. Then from there you can convert your student visa to unemployment based, and then you start working as a registered nurse in the US here. Another way is through an employment based visa. Yes, you can come on employment based basically to work. The popular agency which was helping our Ugandans was called 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒 Uganda, but recently I heard they closed in Uganda. Probably they went to Nairobi, but that doesn't mean you can't apply to them. Probably they had, I hear they had a lot of failures in 𝐿𝐿 and they closed in Uganda, but that doesn't mean you can't apply to them. So, but mostly they would want someone who has done an 𝐿𝐿 to apply to them. So that those are the two staffing agencies helping our Ugandan nurses to immigrate and work here as registered nurses here in the US. But even without a staffing agency, you can still do the things your way and come and work here. And if you want to start the process on a private basis by yourself, here, me, Jacob, I can help you to guide you through the process, and you do your NCLEX and come and work as a registered nurse here in the US. Of course, like many Ugandans, there are so many Ugandans out there who say, oh bambi, oh yabafira, oh yabatwalawa, bamekabe yakatwala. My friend, we've helped so many nurses come and work here in the US. For if you don't want something, don't make your comments. There are those out there who want to come and work here in the US. Don't discourage them. If you don't want something, just don't comment about it, because you don't know something. You don't know anything about. People are coming and they are working here in the US from Uganda, and so many of them have come here through our help. And if you need my help to help you on a private basis to come and work here in the US, I have an email on my forum which you can contact me. I rarely give my private number because I don't want a lot of spam. This is an international forum. I don't want so many messages on my phone. But if you write through my email and you need help and assistance to come and work here in the US, I can guide you and work and come through the whole process, how you can start, the amount of money you need. Basically, you need roughly around 5 million to start the process, and I can guide you through the process until you come and work here in the US on a private basis. So let me go through the process briefly, how you can start to come and work here in the US. The first process, we start with 𝐶DFN, which is an international organization which verifies nurses' papers. Yes, they verify your transcripts to see that they equate to those documents here in the US of nurses here in the US. So they verify from diploma level up to a bachelor's level. It's an international organization, 𝐶DFN, which does the document verification for all nurses who want to come and work here in the US. And basically, 𝐶DFN charges around 1.5 million Ugandan shillings. You log into the account. After paying, they will give you some papers where you send to your nursing school to verify the transcripts, and some you send to the nursing council to verify your transcript. Without those two, you can't work, because you need the nurses council to verify your licensure to work as a registered nurse in Uganda, and you need the school also to verify your papers. So with 𝐶DFN, the organization, it helps you, take you through that process, and the process with 𝐶DFN takes around 3 months before your papers are verified. Now, on top of that, you need to apply to a board of nursing in the US. US, unlike other countries, each state in the US here has its own board of nursing, and not all states are easy. There are specific states where most international nurses apply, and they make life easy for them to apply to take the NCLEX. Now, the popular states are Texas, Illinois, New York, New Mexico. Those are popular states where international nurses like you who want to come and work here, where you can apply. Most states charge like $100. That is roughly around 370 to 400,000 Ugandan shillings for them to help you through the process. So once you apply there, they have their rules and regulations which you will go through, and then once you get your report from 𝐶DFN sent to the board of nursing, and they see that your documents are equivalent to the documents of a nurse in the US, they'll guide you through the process, and at the end of it, they'll give you what they call an authorization to test. An authorization to test is a number which allows you to log in into the test center so that you can do what? You can take your exam. So that is a small process which you cannot do by yourself. You need someone to guide you through each and everything, how it goes, up to the time where you take your NCLEX. Now, to work as a registered nurse here in the US, you need to take an exam known as the NCLEX. It's an exam which you have to pass, and it's an exam where all nurses in the US have to pass if they are to work as registered nurses. So you, as an international nurse, you need to take an NCLEX before you do what? Before you are given a license to practice as a registered nurse in the US. So through that document of verification, you need to start studying for your NCLEX. We have a number of tutors who help nurses from Uganda to study and qualify to do the NCLEX. So once the board of nursing in the US has given you the ATT and has allowed you to take the NCLEX, there are test centers here. There are test centers which you have to go and take the NCLEX in. Now, the popular test centers which are Ugandan nurses use, we have a test center in South Africa, Johannesburg. Many of them have gone to take the exam from there, but sometimes they're a little bit hard on their visas. Others have to go to Mumbai in India to take the NCLEX. But currently, I had good news that Nairobi is opening up a test center where nurses are going to take the NCLEX. Please, as Ugandan nurses, don't miss that opportunity. When it's Nairobi here, please, once the embassy, the test center in Nairobi comes up, you only need your pass, you go there and take the exam. And that's good news. If Nairobi is opening up, it's a good news for us as Ugandan nurses to take the exam. But currently the popular places where Ugandan nurses go to take the NCLEX is in Mumbai, India and South Africa. Then you take the exam. So once you pass that NCLEX exam, you are already a registered nurse in the US. Yes, once you pass the NCLEX, no one can take that license away from you. You are already a registered nurse in the US. But there's one task. How do you come and work in the US? You need a visa. Yes, you need a visa. You're already a registered nurse, but you don't have the employment papers to work in the US, and that's very important. So basically, another step, you need to take an English test. Yes, you need to take an English test, and the most popular English test we take is called the IELTS. We take it at the British Council here in Uganda. You need to pass it very well with at least a minimum of a 7 in speaking and an average of 6.5 in all other listening, reading. There are like 4 of them. You need to pass them, and once you have those 2, you are ready to go. That's not enough. You need a staffing agency. Yes, you can't come in the US by yourself. You need a staffing agency to bring you here. Why you need a staffing agency? A staffing agency will help you get an employer. Yes, they will guide you through the processes. They will guide you a hospital which will employ you and give you that employment letter, which you take to the what? To the embassy for you to get your visa to come and work here in the US. So you need a staffing agency. There are so many staffing agencies which bring nurses to come and work here in the US. There, if I can mention, there's MediPro, there's Avant, there's Ogrado Painton. There are so many of them. And once you have your NCLEX, I believe they will sign you within a month and they put you on board to come and work here. So basically, once you get a staffing agencies, there are like 2-3 processes they help you with. They help you with the visa screen. Then they'll help you file your I-140, and then they'll help you file a DS-260. Of course, when you've not gone through that process, you can't know all this stuff I'm talking about. But once you are in the process, you know what filing an I-140 means. You know what filing a DS-260 means, and all when you're in the process, you know all that. They'll give you a guide who will take you through the process and all the documents you need to go with to the embassy to take your visa interview. Now, if you have to come here in the US, the embassy we use, which gives us the EB3 visas, is the Nairobi embassy. Unfortunately, our US embassy in Uganda doesn't give immigrant visas. So if you're Ugandan and you want to come in the US, you need to go to Nairobi to take your visa interview. Our US embassy here in Uganda, it doesn't give EB3 visas. The US embassy only gives non-immigrant visas like visitors. They give the students visas which other people use. But if you want to come on unemployment based visa, you need to go to Nairobi to take the interview, and the staffing agency will take you through all that. So when the EB3 visa leads to what we call a green card. Yes, and once you have that green card, it will allow you work in the US for around 10 years. The beauty with the green card, let me tell you the advantages of the green card, which is given to registered nurses. The green card will allow you to put your family members on if you are married legally. I mean, if you are married legally, by meaning married legally in Uganda means that the government knows you're married. You need to register your marriage with URSB. Most of you come with your church marriages. You take it to the embassy thinking you are married. They will dispose of your they will deny you a visa because of that. The only marriage which is recognized in Uganda is when you are registered in the URSB. Most people have had problem because the embassy will call URSB. Is this person married? And then they don't see you there. So when you have your church papers, please take them and register your marriage in the government papers. That is the only recognized marriage if you are to come with your spouse and children and come and work in the US. So once you get your visa, that is great news for you. You come and work in the US as a registered nurse. Of course, the staffing agency which guided you will contract you for 2 to 3 years, and then they'll bring you and come and work in the US here as a registered nurse. So the process basically takes around 2 to 3 years. Yes, it's a long process, yeah, but it's also equivalent to going to the nursing school. But let me tell you, working here in the US as a registered nurse is very rewarding, and I encourage all you nurses who are in Uganda, if you are really interested, you come and we work as registered nurses here in the US. The opportunities and jobs here as registered nurse in the US, there are so many. There are so many. Each hospital needs a registered nurse, unlike in Uganda where you guys are struggling to get jobs. Here in the US, the jobs for registered nurses are so many, and they are all well paying. You won't regret coming to work here in the US. Yes, they are all well paying. If you want to come and you believe this is the journey for you and you need guidance, just email me. I'm going to put my email here on the forum if you need guidance through the whole process, how you can register your papers. You need a teacher for the NCLEX, you need guidance through the whole process, how you start. Basically, I encourage all those who want to start at least have 5 million. Yes, 5 million. With 5 million, if you can pay your tuition at 𝐻𝐾𝐒, if you can pay your tuition for all those master's programs, charging roughly 4 to 5 million per semester, you can also start the process of coming here in the US. You need at least 5 million shillings, because you need the 𝐂𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐘, you need to register with the Board of Nursing, all the documentation, all the documents sending, and sometimes I've included the amount you need to make a flight to take your exam, roughly at least 5 million to start. That is the starting fee for the process. And once you have that, the next process of the immigration is sponsored by your staffing agency, which will bring you here in the US to work as a registered nurse. So if you have any questions about the process, you are interested in coming and working here in the US and you need guidance, come to my email. I don't charge Ugandan nurses for this, because I know you're struggling with so many things. You are paid not much money. I usually some do it for free actually. Yes, 𝐶FELA, I do it for free. I've helped very many nurses through the process to come and work here in the US, and you feel this is the process for you, you can contact me on my email. I'm interested, and please, only serious people, not people who are struggling, only serious people, and you feel you can wait 2 to 3 years to come. Yes, the process is 2 to 3 years. Yeah, it's lengthy. 2 to 3 years to come and work here in the US as a registered nurse. Thank you very much for listening to my tutorial. You can send it to all others, all this information, all your friends who are interested to come and work here in the US. I'll be happy to guide you if you are interested to come and work here in the US. Thank you very much for listening and watching my tutorial.